Hi from Kirkland, Washington, on the shores of Lake Washington. I haven't been in this space for about a month now and felt like there was something important that needed to be, all of a sudden I'm just back in it. Felt that there was something important to capture. I am back in Seattle. I need to be here fairly consistently for the next month or so to have some medical care. And it's very interesting at this point in the journey because I have been pretty decided up until now that I'm leaving Seattle. This is not going to continue to be my home. So I'm coming back here with sort of both I don't want to be here and look at this place. It's August in Seattle. It doesn't get much more beautiful than this. Except, I don't know, maybe on an island in the Caribbean or something. So, there's a shift happening here. There's a cycle of sorts that's happening because there was so much going on when I actually lived here a year ago, last summer. It was quite a summer. And so there's so much coming back up in me, being back here exactly a year later. And what's really funny, well, a little bit of a backstory. When I come to Seattle now, I don't live here anymore. So I either need to find a place to stay, like a hotel or an Airbnb, or I need to stay with someone else. And at this point in the journey, I'm finding that it's just, I actually don't want to be alone that much. I actually really enjoy being with others, and now is not the time for me to be alone and go into hermit mode, which I am prone to do. And I got back here, as I was coming back here the other day, I was thinking about, well, like, where am I going to stay? Which at this point, that question doesn't faze me. I show up places and I don't have a place to stay, and I can find a place to stay in an hour. It's fine. No big deal. But the bigger question that was tugging at me was, why am I hitting this resistance in the journey about asking for help or requesting, like, hey, can I stay with you, or hey, can you listen to me, or hey, I need your help on I don't know. I'm just hitting a point where I feel like I can't ask for help anymore. Like I have asked for way more help than I ever thought I would be asking for, and so I thought it was really important to sit with that. What is going on? Like, what is this resistance? And side note, the past month or so, I've been in this radical receiving experiment, like, and the whole point of which is take what's offered. So if people offer me help, take it. Don't be like, oh no, I'm okay, I'll just go it on my own. But take it when it's offered, and when it's not offered and you need help, ask for it. That one's particularly difficult. I'm getting better at accepting when people offer easily and graciously, like, yes, thank you, I would love that. What's hard for me is knowing when I want something or need something, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, that might be asking for too much. Or like I come at it from a scarcity mindset. Like, oh, like there's a quota. There's only so much help I can ask for, and then that's it. So I knew when I felt that internal resistance the other day to making requests for help that it was very important for me to sit with that. And yeah, it's really vulnerable in times of transition. If you're going to, like, what I noticed is that or what I'm appreciating is that what I'm trying to do is really hard. I'm uprooting everything, I'm starting everything over, and I had an amazing call with my women's tribe the other day, and this helped lock this in. I can't do it alone. I need my people. And there's no shame in that. I realized this morning as I was meditating on it, there is a shame. There's a shame in asking for help. And I realized I gotta rewrite the story. That's just a story I'm telling myself in my head, that I'm needy and that there's only so much help I can ask for, and that there's no abundance of it, and that there's something wrong with me, or I'm not capable if I'm asking for help. So I'm rewriting the story on all of that. As I'm sitting this morning in meditation, I'm realizing this is part of my journey, is to understand that I am part of something bigger. There are multiple things happening for me when I shifted my mindset to, why am I asking for help? What's really going on when I'm asking? And what's really happening is I'm saying, I have a vision for my life right now that requires me it is requiring a lot of me, a lot of energy, and I can't do it alone. I mean, I could, but I don't even know. Actually, I'm going to say that no, I couldn't. I can't do what I really need to do without other people in my life right now. And that is a bold statement for me to make. And I love that. So I'm sitting here in a spot that used to be my sanctuary spot for a long time, my place of deep attunement, where I'd go when I wanted to be with myself and get clarity. And I had this feeling of just being of oneness, of being so connected to everything, and felt the story in my mind start to rewrite. That it's what's really happening when I'm asking for help is I'm saying, I have a vision for my life. It's big, it requires a lot, and I can't do it alone. And I actually don't want to. I am authoring a story of my life where I'm not alone, I'm not isolated, I'm not walled off. The whole point is that I want to create a life where I am in communion with others, where I'm in communion with the world, with spirit, with God, everything, that I'm open. And so I just have this warm, tingly feeling, knowing everything was whoosh in that moment. Everything shifted, and I realized there was nothing wrong with making the request for help. Making requests for help, it was who I was being, or how I was viewing myself, and the story I was telling myself around who I was being, asking for help. And so when I had the shift of going from a diminished space of I can't do it on my own, I need help, to look at how far I've come, and look at look at what I'm trying to create in myself and in the world. And man, it's gonna take a tribe of people around me to make it happen. And how powerful, I just felt so powerful with that reframe. And I know that was a critical part of my journey this year, was for me to get to this place. And I actually think it was perfect that I ended up coming to, here's what's really funny, is something happened. I landed at SeaTac yesterday. I wasn't reaching out to people I know here to see if I could stay with them because of this whole thing I just covered, not wanting to ask for help. I was feeling very stubborn and resistant, and so in my heart I was like, well, where am I going to go? I couldn't find any good Airbnbs last night, and I was like, I'm going to just stay at the Woodmark. I got to go to Kirkland anyhow tomorrow, or this was yesterday. And the Woodmark actually had a really good rate for Monday night, so I was like, all right, I'm going to the Woodmark. And the irony here is that the apartment I used to live in is 4 blocks away. So, and I've walked by the Woodmark a million times. Okay, probably not a million, but probably 100 times. in 8 years of living here. And the point, like there's a point over there, like Caroline Point, is the place I would come to all the time if I just needed a quiet place to be held. I love just going out on the dock and being on the water. So there was also, I think, it's funny how things just sometimes work, or sometimes I think we subconsciously need something that we consciously aren't aware of. But I ended up coming here, and it was such a weird experience to stay in a hotel that's 4 blocks from where I used to call home, and to be like a stranger in a place that used to be, not a stranger, but to be a tourist or a visitor needing refuge in a place that I used to call home. And that's important because I'm starting over. This isn't my home anymore. And I love it here. There's like a completion happening here for me, and there was something I needed from this place over the past day. A place of nature and communion with God that held me for many years, but mostly last summer, when everything was falling apart, and this space helped me break down and rebuild. It held me, and it's still holding me. And I love it here, and I'm just really grateful to be in this space again as a totally different person. Something about coming back to anchor points for familiar places is that they, in many ways, or at least the way I experience them, they remain static, and they become a backdrop or a mirror to shine back at you how much you have or haven't changed. The place stays solid, but I'm morphing, and I feel the shift profoundly. And I'm very grateful for how far I've come, and the solidness in myself and in my tribe of people.